Hello and welcome to this short presentation where I'll be giving an introduction to English grammar. Having a firm knowledge of the English grammar is crucial for a variety of aspects of everyday life. Whether you're studying for exams or writing letters, knowing about the ways that we can use grammar correctly is really important. This introduction is for anyone who wants to develop a foundational knowledge of English grammar and is even suitable for complete beginners in the English language. As it's an introduction, I'll keep my points brief, but hopefully in the future I can provide more in-depth videos to really help you excel with your grammar skills. For now, this presentation will focus on 1. Identifying the importance of sentence structure, and 2. Looking specifically at word classification. So let's get started. Before we dive into looking at sentence structure, I think it's really important to define what grammar is and why it's important. Grammar is essentially the rules for speaking and writing in a language. It's not something that's necessarily taught in schools. We're only really told that it's important. And I think the reason that it isn't taught in schools is because they're pretty much like these rules are just like wired into our brain from the moment that we develop our speech as a child, and it's just taken for granted. Now these rules refer to the way that we organize our language, building from words to phrases to clauses and then full sentences. For example, in English we say "I eat a cake." We don't say "a cake I eat." Unless you're Yoda. And this is because English has a word order of subject, verb, object. So this is just one of the many rules in English that help keep our language in order so that we can easily understand each other. When looking at parts of a sentence, it becomes clear then how we build sentences. We start with words, which are then used to construct phrases, which are then used to construct clauses, which are then used to construct full sentences. In later videos, I'll explore more into what I mean when I refer to constituent order and phrases and clauses and sentences. But for now, I think it's just best if we narrow in on one of these parts of grammar, specifically looking at words and the different types of words that we have in the English language. So the first and most basic type of word that we're going to look at are nouns and pronouns. Nouns simply refer to people, places, and things. Examples of this can be, the name of a prominent Catholic figure, such as the Pope. It could be the name of a place, such as school, or it can even be the name of an object, such as bananas. And then it can even refer to non-tangible things, so things you can't physically hold in your hands, such as love and time. So in a sentence example, we can say, the Pope eats pizza, with the noun being the Pope. Moving on to pronouns, these are basically words that are used to replace nouns. The most basic ones when referring to people are he, she, and they. So in our example, instead of saying the Pope eats pizza, we can say he eats pizza. And that's, you can use that if the audience already knows who you're referring to. When referring to things and objects, some pronouns include these, this, or that. So if the Pope was saying pizza is delicious, he can simply say this is delicious. Sorry for the pause. So there are many more examples of pronouns in the English language, which I won't be able to get through here. However, if you are interested in a full list, I would definitely check out this book, which is called English Grammar Today. I don't know if you can see that properly. So yeah, it's just a really handy reference if you're not sure on certain aspects of grammar, such as what counts as a pronoun or a noun. So now that we have a basic understanding of nouns, we can move on to the next important type of word, which is verbs. So in primary school, as I'm sure you're familiar with, we're taught that verbs are doing words, and that's exactly what they are. They refer to actions, states, or occurrences. And they are, I would say, the most important part of a sentence. So the reason they're the most important part of a sentence is because a sentence simply cannot function without verbs. In the example, the Pope eats pizza, if you took away the verb eat, you'd just be left with the Pope pizza, which doesn't make any sense. So in the example, the Pope eats pizza, we can identify the verb as being eat, or to eat in its infinitive form, and that just basically refers to the dictionary form of a verb when I say the infinitive. This is just because it's the action being performed by the Pope. Other examples of verbs include sing, walk, become, seem, and even water. Now here you might question, isn't water a noun because it refers to the object water? Now you're not wrong. Yes, water is a noun because it does refer to an object. However, in English, some nouns can also be used as verbs if you change their position in a sentence. So for example, if you have the sentence, I drink water, here it's a noun because we're referring to the drink water. However, if you say, I water my plants, the word water follows the subject I, meaning that it's being used as a verb, meaning that I'm providing water to my plants. So I'll go into a bit more detail about how word order can affect the classification of a word in a later video, but for now just bear in mind that words can have a variety of classifications depending on how they are used. Moving on to the final type of word that we will look at today, adjectives. Put simply, adjectives are describing words that modify the property of a noun. In English, these are typically found preceding a noun. So in the example, I saw a beautiful castle, the adjective would be beautiful as it's modifying the noun castle by describing it. So there are many different types of adjectives in English. The most important ones I would say are descriptive adjectives, like the ones in the example above, Others include proper adjectives, which are formed from proper nouns such as, an English newspaper. You've got superlative adjectives, which they compare different things, but it describes the one which is the most extreme, typically ending in est, such as the fastest runner. And then you've got comparative adjectives, which are used to compare different things and just typically end in er, i.e. your shirt is cheaper than mine. So that concludes my short introduction to English grammar. I hope you've enjoyed it. So there are many more rules that I'll delve into in later videos, but for now we've just simply looked at sentence structure and different ways we can classify words as the most basic part of a sentence. Word classification isn't just limited to nouns, pronouns, verbs, and adjectives like I've mentioned in this video. You can have different classifications like determiners, adverbs, prepositions, and conjunctions, and some more, which may be involved in sentence structure depending on what sentence you're dealing with. So tune into my next video where I'll go through these and round off this section of word classes. I hope you've enjoyed this presentation. Thank you for watching.